Yeah, what's up everybody? Nice to see you. Thank you very much. I know there's not many of us in at the moment, but I'm okay with that. This wasn't really, sorry, I'm just sorting out my windows. That's a rude word to say around here, windows. Right. Don't know, why is that light not on? Oh, it's not charging. Hang on. Professional as you like. Right, here we jolly well go then. So the purpose of today's video, or just this, is because I just edited a photo for Instagram. And I thought to myself, you know, maybe someone might be interested in how I go about doing the editing. It's a little bit different to put on the channel, to be fair. Let me just turn my microphone down so I don't keep topping out. It's a little bit different. It's something that you don't really see on a vaping channel, but you know, it might help some people if they're thinking about, you know, making their pictures look a bit sexier for Instagram or whatever. I've not really planned out exactly what I'm going to do. I've got a couple of photos to play with, but you know, we might even do something live at the time. So, is the quality okay? Are we running in 1080? I hope so. Got an excellent connection apparently. And all that. Thank you, Truck and Reviews, Buckin Shooter Ranch, and Ben. Thank you very much for coming and joining us, as well as Mick and Brian as well. Oh, I'm on top chat. Hang on, we need to move that to live chat. Marvellous. Right. So the way we're going to do this is we are going to go with that kind of vibe going on right there. I don't need that window because you'll be able to see what's being talked about, and we'll pop that in there like that. So could I put a picture in picture as well? Probably could. Do I want that? What do we think of music to start with, by the way? Did we think it was kind of fun? Show picture in picture. Yes, there we go. So this is the format that we're going to do. This is the photo that I just put up on Instagram, and so we're gonna kind of go through that process a little bit, as well as sort of seeing if we can do a brand spanky new one as well. How does that sound? Does that sound fun? Seems all good. Excellent. FYI, what we're up to, I've had to pull myself away from vaping on the Abyss to try out other stuff. So just to let you know what I'm vaping at the moment and stuff that's going to be coming up, we've got the Lost Vape Gruss 100 watt kit that came in from Evolution Vaping. I've definitely got some thoughts on that one. And in there I am vaping Medusa. This stuff here from Vapable, I think. Yes, which is kind of an anise kind of vibe, which is not my normal thing, but I'm actually really enjoying it. It's not too strong. We've also got the new BF kit, the Requiem BF kit from Vandy Vape, which has got the Requiem RDA, and it's just a little tiny mechanical mod. This I opened yesterday for my patrons. It's nothing we haven't really seen before, but I will give you guys an overview of it once I've used it for a few days. But listen to this. Would you know it? It didn't really do it then. This is a whistly little bastard. And that was dry. Oh, that was a dry one. I'm just waiting for the Abyss to land today so we can launch on the websites tonight. Excellent. I know people have been going nuts because they've not been able to get hold of their their Abyss, and so it'll be good. Anyway, vaping's a lot better when you've got juice on the coil. The only other things that I've got in front of me, apart from just a crap ton of stuff, is I've still got the Thelema sitting there as well with the Creed 24 on it. Both that and the Squonker have got Future Juice vanilla custard, which I am a huge fan of. A huge fan of. This came through from ohms.co.uk if you want some of that. The Gruss 100 watt, if that's the sort of thing that tickles your taste buds, is came through from Lost Vape and Evolution Vaping. So if you want to go and check those guys out, you can. Have I got anything else to tell you before we get into this? I don't think we have. I don't think I have. So, should we get into editing some pictures? Why the hell not? Right, so this is what we've got. Now, the software I'm going to be using is Affinity. And hang you on. If I do that, get a new window and bring that across to here. Can you see that window? Yes, you can. The reason I use Affinity, I know most people tend to use Photoshop, but I don't like Adobe's. I don't like the fact that Adobe charges you a bunch of money every month, and so I use Affinity Photo and Affinity Designer. Affinity, I'm not an affiliate with them, by the way, but this is who I've been using for years, and they're 50% off at the moment, which I don't know what that makes it. But if you are, there we go, look, fuck me, it's so cheap. 24 quid for something that rivals Photoshop, in my opinion, and Lightroom. So, you know, this is why I use these guys. Once you bought it, you bought it. None of this subscription nonsense, and everyone's a winner. Right, tastes better with juice. Yeah, I can't quit my Kennedy 28 on my stack 20 Vindicate. Yeah. Dean, is there any chance you can show us some techniques on how to compose a picture from stock photos, e.g. getting some different type of fruits and putting them together to make it look nice? Possibly. I'm expecting new Illuminati mod from ModMaker to arrive tomorrow. Excellent. I've been trying to make nice pictures for my DIY mixes. Gotcha, Ben. We can have a look at that. Let me get through the Ben. If you're sticking around towards the end, buddy, once I've done this, I will. We can have a look. You'll just have to remind me. The great thing with Affinity is that it really does. Oh, that's going to mean you're not going to see your chat. Maybe. Hang on. Where have I got my? What did I do with the chat? What did I do with it? Hang on, window. Comments and reactions. Wallop. No, that should. Does that stay there? No, that doesn't stay there. We'll do this. Right, minimize that lot. And here we go. Now, I do run on a Mac. So, you know, if you're not a Mac user, tough. Don't give me any shit for it. This is my chosen operating system. So deal with that. Right, now I've got that there. So I can, there we go. Look, I can even add YouTube broadcasts as well. Look, fantastic. Oh, my face was in the way. What a twat. Do we need to see my face on here? I don't think we do, but you know. Right, so as you can tell, I've really thought about this stream before doing it. So this is the picture that I put on social media a little while ago. This was the JPEG out of the camera. Now, does Affinity have vector extensions? Affinity Photo doesn't, but Affinity Designer is. It's all about the vector art, so I use both of them. So job's a good one. Right. Okay. So yeah. So this was the JPEG that came directly out of my camera, and I actually used the raw version of it to edit, which I've just realised I haven't got here. This is another one that we're going to have a play with. Hold you on. Let me just get all my my stuff up here. Where's the 7007 RAF? Here we go. Wallop. Are we loading it? Yes, we're loading it slowly. We're getting there. I'm running off a brand spanking new Mac Mini, which is being tested to the max with this sort of thing. So this is another reason why I wanted to do this kind of jobby. Right, I'm going to take away that. What's going on here? What's going on here? Why isn't that loaded up yet? Right, well, we'll have a go with this one instead for the time being, shall we? So this is the one that's straight out of camera. That's the JPEG. That is all of the normal kind of nonsense. No, actually, it's really bugging me. This is really bugging me. Why? Open recent. That one. That's the one we want. Just thinking about it, I think. There is a hell of a lot going on, so this is testing the crap out of the system. What cam do you use for your pics? I use a Fuji X-T3. That's got the Lauer 65mm 2:1 macro lens on it at the moment. That's what I took the two pictures with we're looking at today. But yeah, that's been my baby. That's what I do most of my filming on and all that sort of stuff. I'm a proper Fuji boy. I've got a Fuji X-T20 right there, which is what I'm looking into at the moment. But I have got a little Sony RX100V for my top-down shots when we do those. Right, let's get into it. Oh, now, before I do this, sorry, organisation would be good. While I'm using raw files from a big posh camera, you don't need to use raw files from a big posh camera. There are plenty of apps now, whether you're on iPhones or whether you're on Android phones, that will take raw photographs. Why do we take raw photographs? It's because they have more dynamic range, so you get more of the brightness or more detail in the brightness and more detail in the shadows that you've got to play with. You can do all of this with just JPEGs, straight out of camera JPEGs, but yeah, it's one of those things that if you're using RAW, you've just got more to play with. But there we go. Just looked at it. It's on sale at half price. Yes. Like I say, I've been using Affinity for years, and I think it's absolutely superb. Okay, so right, let me turn that one off. I'm not going to save that edit. I don't know why this one isn't opening, so we're just going to go with what we've got for this new picture. Right, so then, hey Alex, how you doing? So this is the JPEG straight out of camera, and it looks dull as piss. We've got hairs going onto it. Look at this, look. What? It's not a pube. No, is that a hair? Yeah, that's a hair. That's a beard hair going on there. We're looking a bit kind of manky. We've got spots and dust and crap all over it. We're going to sort all of that out. Look at all the state of this, look. We're going to sort all of that out, and we are going to make it look sexy. All right, so let's get rid of that. In fact, no, we'll leave the JPEG there. This is the RAW, and the reason, as I said, I've used the RAW one is because it is it's got more dynamic range. So what we can do is I am going to use my histogram. I think am I going to use my scopes? I'm going to use my scopes up here. Now, what the scopes do is, I mean, it sounds technical as you like, but oh hey Vogan, how you doing, buddy? But this is telling us that basically most of our information on the top right hand corner there is in the shadows. It's in that low end. We've got a couple of bits going up here that sort of are going to around middle grey at around 50%, but there's not really a great deal going up there in the highlights. So what we'll do is we'll open the shadows tab on this right hand side first and foremost, and we're going to brighten up these shadows so we can see more of what we've got going on in the picture. I'm actually going to increase the exposure a touch, because then I'm going to take my highlights right down. Now at this point, can you see where it says lost vape? If I zoom into this, if my highlights are up, we start really sort of crashing out. Now when it's like this on a JPEG, you can't bring back that information. That is lost. That's going to be blown out and bright white to the world. So that's what you've got going on. The benefit of a raw file is that you can then bring that down and you can really get that lost information there. Lost. But yeah, so you can see that we've got a bunch more to play with. Again, with the shadows, you know, if it was all the way down, you'd lose on a JPEG, you'd lose all the detail in all of this black. So we can lift that up and we can see some of that detail. I did use a higher ISO on this, which is why there's a little bit of grain in this one, but we're not going to worry about that too much today. We are also on the pest, so we've got to straighten that up, but let's get into the basic edit. So in the raw edit, before we worry about doing anything, I'm going to pull up these shadows a fair old whack. We're going to just increase the contrast just a touch. Now I don't do this for all of my social media, but sometimes I do. And I do a bunch of this for other things as well. Now then, contrast. Contrast is an adjustment that does everything in the picture. So you can see at the sort of on the base here, on this kind of wood stuff, that the contrast will kind of make that a lot deeper and a lot. No, I wasn't talking about contrast, was I? Clarity will make that a lot deeper and a lot kind of more in your face. A lot of people go overboard on this with a lot of sort of apps you can get on the phone and all that sort of stuff, but it can bring back some of the detail. However, we're not going to worry too much about that because I don't want it to go too heavy. Now, one of the things to remember is that when you are making photographs for social media, you can afford to over sharpen things just a touch. And by over sharpening things just a touch, it means it sort of pops a little bit more on a phone screen or whatever. But you wouldn't use that same process if you're doing a larger picture for a website or for a print or something like that, because then it can look a bit shit. Right. Back to it again. We're all still here. Lovely old job. Okay, so we are cooking with gas. Where's my mouse? There it is. So I'm going to take my clarity down just a touch, just so I've got a little bit. If I go back to everything there, you can see that this was kind of really washed out where I'd taken the exposure up. Cloudy, no, you don't need to invest in a proper camera. It's helpful, but like I say, you can get apps. Moment do an app, and various people do apps that allow you to take raw shots on your mobile phone as well. So I'm going to bring I'm going to do that. Shadows up, contrast up just a touch. Clarity, now watch this area down here. If I take that clarity up too much, it starts getting like overly grainy and starts looking a bit shit. But we just want to give it a hint of kind of roughness. Again, I'm overdoing it just a touch because it's something that will look okay on a social media post. So we'll take that up just a hair. And by the way, for the scene here, the black bit on the background is just a bit of black foam core. That's my headphones holder, juice, and a cheeky little repotted cactus, whatever it is. Okay, so now we'll go on to the black point and just bring that down a touch. We'll bring the brightness up a touch, and you'll see that this also adds a little bit of contrast. We can see what's going on here, but not brilliantly, but we can see some stuff, which is useful. Right, now then, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into getting some details. And on the right here, we've got the basic changes. We've got lens, so you can put a lens profile correction if you want to. But on here, details, we're going for detail refinement. And I'm just going to increase the radius, which is the pixel size that we're dealing with. And then I'm just going to push that up a little bit. Now you can see that we've got some more noise in the background right here. So I'm going to bring that down just a touch. And I'm going to bring that down just a touch as well. And yeah, we're not sort of too noisy as a result. Okay, good stuff. Then we've got tones. Tones for an S curve. We'll just throw a little S curve in here. I'm going to put 3 little points on my curve. I'm going to lift the top up. Now, hopefully, no, I haven't turned it on. That's why. Little tick on the turny on a bit. Now, the top section here is for highlights. The bottom section here is for shadows. So if I move this up, then the highlights will get worse. If I move it down, they'll get darker. But because we've only got so much information, there's only so far you can push them. But if I turn that up just a touch, I'm going to take the shadows down just a touch. This is a great way if you like doing the kind of the funky thing that people are doing now, when you kind of increase the base level, so the absolute blacks, so it's less contrasty and it has a bit of more of a sort of a vintage vibe going on, but we can worry about that later. I'm also going to push the mids up just a hair as well. Okay, now we can go back here, take the clarity down just a touch. Contrast down just a touch as well. Going to increase the shadows a wee bit more. Right, we're also going to add a little bit extra colour. Actually, the vibrance is going up, but the colour is going down a bit, just to give it kind of a bit of a vibe. I switched to Affinity after being a loyal Lightroom user for years. Absolutely. See you later, Buck. Have a good time. Okie dokie. Right, so what else have we got? I think we've got most of the information that I want there. I've not got any blown out highlights. We've increased the sort of the picture a wee bit. We could probably do just a touch more. There we go. Make it just a hair brighter, and now we can look at we can do some local, even though this is raw, like Lightroom, we can do a couple of sort of special bits and bobs. So if I'm going to add a filter, or a gradient rather, coming in here, and that gradient, when we go back to the details, is going to allow me to bring down the exposure. See that? And so it kind of is looking like it's a kind of a darker area over that corner of the world. And that means that we are essentially kind of doing almost a vignette, but not quite. I don't want to go too heavy on it, so we'll go with that for the time being. We can also go back to overlays and we'll put another gradient, possibly. Let's see how this looks. Coming up to the on the bottom there, because what we want to do, your eyes are always drawn to the lightest part of the image. And so what we want is we want the kind of the outside. This is why people use vignettes, which is when it's darker in the corners. We want the eye to be drawn to what we're actually looking for, rather than anything else. We might end up cropping this out in a minute anyway, so let's not go too crazy. Okay, so I think we are probably all right on that one. Maybe. Let's just have a look and see. I haven't edited this one up till now. No. Actually, get rid of that one. We don't want that one. Right, so we can also see that we're slightly on the piss. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to sort that one out. But before I do that, let me just go back into the tones, and I want to make this feel a little bit more nice. That green is a bit bright, so I'm choosing my curves again, but I'm choosing the green channel this time. I'm going to bring down that. There, you can see that the introduction with a little bit of magenta has actually kind of really helped that but it's a little bit too much. I'm gonna there we go. A little bit of blue in the highlights, taken out of the low lights a bit, and we're getting a nice kind of warm vibe going on now. This is very helpful. Been messing around with pics for a while now, but this is explaining pretty much what I've been unsure of. Excellent. I'm pleased that it's being helpful. So yeah, so where we're at right now is we've got that warm feeling just by playing with the, I know this looks a mess over here, but you can only do one curve at a time depending on which one you're playing with. We could also split tone as well, where we've got kind of, we'll choose blue in the highlights, we'll have a kind of an orange in the shadows, and then we can kind of move things up, and you can see you've got different sort of color schemes. I mean, this is all far too extreme, but it means that in the shadow areas, if we want to have kind of more of that kind of vintagey color, we can, or we can go more to the blues on the top there. So I am going to go a little bit like this. Now, with any product photography, you don't want to change the colors of the product overly much. You don't want it to kind of impede what the product actually looks like. So you want it to be as realistic as you can be, but you can stylize it. And you can see that we've got, because of this split toning, you can see that we've got a little bit more color up into this corner where we put that gradient a little while ago. So that should help. Right, let me just zoom down a wee bit, because now we're going to see about straightening up. So I hit the crop tool on the left hand side, and then we can just get on the top there and get that nice and straight. The grid is super helpful, so you can see that I sort of lined up this side and this side with the grid that came up with that one. So you can see that's going on there. So that should be reasonably straight. Now it's going to depend on what lens you used, because if you used a wide lens, it might have sort of deformed things a little bit. But now we've got the sides. You can see that because I've turned the photo, we've got some white edges. So we need to get rid of those, which is just super easy. You pull in each one of these little boxes, wallop, 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 and wallop. However, this is still going to be the wrong shape for the majority of social media. So you can choose up in this top corner here if you want to use any specific ratios. A 1:1, for instance, would be great on Instagram, but not great for this particular photo. I didn't think it through when I took it. So yeah, we'll eyeball it. We obviously want the main feature in there, maybe a little bit extra headroom, and I think that will probably do the trick. So now we go up to develop. Once we've done that, that's going to take it from the raw file into a JPEG kind of format. So everything we've just done is baked in. We can still mess around with it a little bit, well, quite a lot, but yeah, it's pretty much baked in. So let's get rid of this nonsense, shall we? Look at this hair stuff. So we've got on the left here, we've got a bunch of tools. Here we've got a healing brush, patch tool, inpainting, all sorts of good stuff. We're going to use the inpainting brush. I use the squares to change the size of squares. Your bracket buttons to change the size of what we're doing. But let's zoom in. And this is like magic. So we're going to paint over this hair, and poof, it's gone. Make that nice and small. Poof, it's gone. Look at that, look. How good's that? Now, again, we're not looking at sort of changing the way this looks, but what I'm going to do now is just go through this, try and find any kind of obvious bits of hairs or something just that's dust or something like that, and we just go and try and do a cleanup. Now ordinarily when I take the shot, I would try and have the product as clean as possible and use a lintless cloth or something to kick things off with, but no, in this instance I didn't. So the cleanup process can often be a very, very time consuming thing. Right, I don't know why I'm losing my little round circle from time to time, but hopefully you can see that it's just getting rid of stuff. Right, we've got a little bit of, do you see that? See that little thing there, right there, that little hair? You don't really notice it when it's on a big picture, but now you know it's there, you can really see it. So we will get rid of that. Magic. We've got a little bit of stuff going on here. Now, this isn't brilliant in as much as sometimes it can look like it's totally messed that up. So what we'll do is we will try and, nope, we will make that a little bit smaller and see if we can do it a little piece at a time. There we go. That's not too bad. Not perfect, but it's not too bad. But yeah, so when you're doing your nice product shots for your socials and stuff, it's worth going through it, zooming in and really getting rid of all of the crap, all of the dust and all that sort of nonsense, because it really does make a difference in your overall image. And you know, to be honest, I do it sometimes, but I don't do it all the time. If I want to make an effort with the picture, I'll do it. But you can tell, if you can see beard hairs and Christ knows what else on my social media pic, I just couldn't be asked. So here we've got some more. Get rid of all these little puppies. Again, it's just all these little tiny things, which is a gigantic pain in the ass. But when you're doing like actual product photography, this sort of stuff takes so long. I did a coffee machine. Was it a coffee machine? Yeah, a coffee machine a while ago. And that took so long. See this big old beard hair going on right here? Whoop. Gone. Magic. And things like watches and stuff are an absolute pain in the bumhole to do, because it just takes so much time, because you just can't get rid of all of the dust and nonsense that goes around. Now, what I do when it comes to the majority of products is that if something is you know, it doesn't look great out of the box, then it depends whether it's a shot that I'm showing you guys because you know, I've got a new product, or whether it's a proper product pic. Because if it's a proper product pic, then generally these things are all fixable, and you kind of get rid of them. But if it's something that is relevant to you guys, and it's not something that I fucked up, then I will get rid of them. Right, the patch tool here. If I draw a little thingy on there, you can see in the middle, well, you could see in the middle, that, in fact, if I escape out of that, that right there, we've got just a bit of dust. Now, that's not something that we've put in with the blur in painting tool, but it is something that is just distracting because it's ugly. Now, if we use the in painting tool because it's on a seam, it might not work overly well. So we're using the patch tool, which is over here where the in painting is. And to make that, we're drawing around the area that we want to change out, and then we're choosing just another bit that has that exact same look. We can move it around, but you can, you know, put anything on there. But we'll do that and line it up. Wallop. and that's not the best, but it's not as bad as it was. And we can carry on doing things like that over here as well. So if we take that area, sometimes this does some weird stuff with blooming, like it's doing right there. I don't really know why it does that, but it does. Let's see if we can get away with it. And you do have to make sure you line these things up, otherwise it'll look really obvious and a bit shit. So yeah, so there we go. That's a way of doing that. I'm not going to go through all of this by doing that. This isn't going to be the most conducive, you know, best edit in the world, because it takes time and you will all be bored out of your faces if I do the full mashings. But let's just go through some bits to get rid of the obvious stuff, and we'll take it from there. Don't know what that is. What's that? That might be a reflection of something, so I am going to get rid of that fucker as well. Wallop. And then some of that action. Oh, I should have had the picture before I did all this, but hopefully you can remember how crappy it looked originally. Oh, look, I've got thumbs down already. Let's keep going. We can make things sharper as well, which we will do, but I'm just kind of getting rid of the worst of this nonsense. Okay, we can see, like, even when we're looking at this from a reasonable distance, we can see that this top half, that bit there, is really annoying me. Let me just fix that. Hang on. Will that work, or will I need to? Oh, no, that might work. Nope, not that one. Okay. Right, so this stuff here, look at the state of this. So still using the in-painting brush, going all the way around it to get stuff sorted. This is why if you are doing stuff for your socials, or if you're doing stuff for work, or you know, for your business or something like that, you really want to go the extra mile to clean up all of your stuff, because like the front of this, there are things you can do to make, you know, to really hide. Like if I wanted to, I could put gradients over the top of all of this to smooth it all out and to sort of hide the fact that it's all filthy. But it takes a lot of time to do that, and to be honest with you, I can't be asked for today. Can I do this there? Yes, I can. And some of that action. That's made that look a bit cleaner. God, you could spend hours. Damn right you could. And I have done. It's something that, you know, takes up an obscene amount of time. But we're not going to do too much more of this today. But I'm just trying to kind of let you see the process, because, you know, a lot of people think, oh, just a photo is just a piece of piss. But to do it properly, it takes time. But also, hopefully, this is highlighting that if you do decide to take photos for your socials and stuff, you clean your stuff first. All right, little tiny hair down here. All right, I think we are pretty much done for that. Taking a couple of little hairs out. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to the screen area, I could completely change that. But now that is much cleaner. We haven't got any beard hairs going on, and it's doing the trick. Okie dokie. So let's get things a little bit more a little bit cleaner, shall we? So I'm going to duplicate this this layer. You can use this as a completely non-destructive editor as well, which is important. But what I'm going to do now is just one of the little editing things that I like to do is use an wrong. I don't want to use an unsharp mask. I want to use a high pass. A high pass filter will give us this grey screen where you can't really see anything. However, what we'll do is we move this radius slider up a little bit, and when we start to see the aspects of the photo that we want to have a little bit more clarity with, then this is just going to give us a little bit of a cleaner image. So I don't know if you can see that via YouTube, but I can just about see what's going on with this right here. So I'm going to take that down, and the idea is it's going to not highlight, but it's going to help kind of give those lines and what have you a little bit of a smoother finish. So I'm going to click that into overlay, and away you go. Are you going to see a difference if I do that? Not a massive one, but it's all relevant. If I take that down a little bit smoother, a little bit not grainier, but you know, thingy. So right, that's that. Now, what else am I going to do? I think I want a little bit more sharpness on this particular piece. So I'm going to duplicate this one. Again, I'm going to move that right up to the top of the layer stack. And then we are going to go to the unsharp mask. Similar to the clarity filter, but is just a little bit cleaner. So what I'm going to do there, we've got the unsharp mask going on, but I want to, if I take that off, can you see how that kind of, that brightens that up? So that's without it, that's with it. So it just kind of adds a little bit extra sharpness on those numbers. Now I don't want it to go through the whole image really. So what we're going to do is we are going to make a mask of that layer. And with this mask, I am going to go up to the top and invert it. And now you can see that under the mask layer, that's a black layer. So if I use the paintbrush and I choose the white there, when I paint this on, it's going to get things a lot sharper. I'm going to go for fairly high flow rate, but I'm using a 2% hardness because it'll be stronger in the middle of that circle than it is towards the outside. So that's what it was before, and that's what it is after. Can you see the difference there? So I'm now going to just paint that right down there. So we're nice and accurate, and I want it to be really sharp on the mod. Again, I want the eyes to be drawn to the mod rather than the background. And this again is why you really want to make sure that you've got a clean product, because the cleaner it is, the better it'll be. The reason I'm doing the sharpening after everything else is just because it's a bit of a pain in the ass to do it beforehand. Well, I suppose you can do it beforehand. Right, so if I take that off, we've got just a little bit blurrier than if we pop it on. Do you get that? Lovely. So I've always wondered what flow rate does. The flow rate is, how's the best way to show this? In fact, hold on, I can show you flow rate. Because again, this isn't just an Affinity Designer thing. This is a generic thing. Let's pop a thing on there. Right, I am going to use a paintbrush, and we're going to use black. So if I use the if the flow rate is up at 100% and the hardness is up at 100% and opacity is up at 100%, which hopefully you can see all up in that corner there, then what I'm getting is just a solid hard circle. See? Now then, in fact, I might just do it with the circle thing. So if I take the hardness down, like so, you can see now I've still got the same size cursor, but that's giving us a lot less going on there. If I go over the top of it and do it again, 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 and again, that'll start to build up and get darker and darker and darker in the middle. Because again, we've got the flow rate. Now, if I take the hardness up all the way and take the flow rate down, you can see there we've got a grey. We've got a light grey. That's at 9% at the moment. But if I keep going over that, that increases it. So it's like that. You can see that every intersection there is darker because that by itself isn't very dark. If I put it on top of it and do it again, darker, 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 and darker. So that just keeps building up like so. So if I go with a low flow rate and a low hardness, then it's even more delicate, but I can still build that up if I want to. So I can kind of have a real dark piece in the corner. So that's, or in the middle rather. So that's what those do. Does that help? Hopefully that helps. Right, let's get rid of these for the time being. Okay. Now, one of the great things about sort of doing other things is I'm looking at this and I'm going, do you know what? That's overboard on the saturation. So I am going to go to my HSL sliders and I'm going to take the saturation down. So it's somewhere about there. Now the luminosity shift will make it brighter or darker, but I want that to go there. I don't want to add any of these kind of hues to it because we've already done a bunch on that kind of stuff. So we'll keep putting that pretty much where we want. And we are going to just get this slider to a place because it was kind of, where was it? It was there. And that's just a bit too angry. So we're just going to bring it down a little bit just to give it a bit of, this is going to look really good as a kind of a vintage vibe, I think. So we'll do that. Right, so hang on, let me have a drink and a vape. So when it comes to what else are we going to do with this, we've got the kind of the tones right, we've got the color pretty right. We've got options. We can either carry on messing about with it, or we could do something like adding a big old vignette. So if we do this, if I take this all the way down, the exposure down, you can see that we've done the edges. If I do the hardness, you can see that much like the hardness with the brush, it's getting softer and softer and softer as it goes in the middle. So because of the shape of our products, we can also change the shape. So rather than a circle, it's being a little bit of a longer thingamajig. Now I want to take the hardness down, scale up. And again, what we're doing there is we're trying to draw the viewer's eye to the center. So we're not going too crazy on the outside, but we're going, you know, we could go the other way, but we're going to go dark enough just to help really draw the viewer into the product. Again, that's what it was. That's it before and after. Does that help? The easy way to explain is for flow rate allows different amounts of color to be laid down similar to a spray can. Yes, yeah, that works very well. That works. Okay, so there is potentially a finished product. I mean, you can go on for hours and do whatever you want. If I wanted to let's have a look at this. Let me just take the, where's my shadows and highlights? If I get the shadows and highlights, I increase the shadows area a bit. Again, I might want to have that more on the mod than everything else. So we'll put a mask around there. Click on the mask, layer, invert mask. So now it's not existent. So then we go onto the paintbrush. We go onto the white, because white's all white. And then we can paint this in. I'm going to flow rate it up fairly high. Hardness super low. And then we can sort of build it up as we go. Right, so particularly around this tank, we're going to bring that up. Now, at the same time as doing this, it's also kind of losing a little bit of contrast, but you know, you can play around with that to your heart's content. So again, before, after, and if you still don't like it, you can then play with your overlay modes, or you can go, well, that was a bit too strong. So if I take the opacity down, you can see that we've got just a little bit extra going there than we had before. And it's up to you whether you like the colors. Again, we can get rid of those if we want to by doing a what should we do? Let's do another HSL. Let's click off that mask so we don't do that. Another HSL slider. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the saturation pretty much all the way down, like that. Then I'm going to put that on a mask again. Invert the mask once again. Now, if I zoom in, you can put kind of rectangles and all sorts of stuff on here if you wanted to, but we're just going to do this just to get rid of some of that color that was in the overall edit. We're not changing the color of the product because it is a black product. Or those sections are black. But once again, what we'll do is we'll play with the opacity of that. That's what it was before, with a lot of browns and stuff in it. And we'll just slide that up and bring it so we've got a little bit more going on like that. So there we go. Once we've done that, if you want to add some more, we'll go crazy and we'll just add another curve just for shits and giggles. Really brighten up that top end, but then we will bring down the bottom a bit, like an S curve. I don't want to blow out the highlights, and we're going to vintage this a little bit by bringing up the, can you see that we're sort of taking the contrast out of the black? We're not crushing the blacks. That's it with nothing. Give it a little bit of that, and it just softens those blacks just a little bit. And so that just means that it kind of gives us a little bit more of a vintage kind of thing. Do you get me? Just play around with that to get it where you want it. And then away you go. So there we go. That's pretty much that. And so then it's just a case of what I do is I will export that. Big old size, desktop, Gruss. Oh, no, Gruss 100-watt kit. And save. And then what I would do is I would airdrop that from the computer to my phone and post it up on Instagram and all that kind of nonsense. So, you know, that's kind of where it was straight out of camera. And that's where we took it. Seems a lot of work for very little payoff, but you know, there was a lot of stuff going on. There was the hairs, there was all the muck going on. And what we've done is something that is very stylized. We've got the extra color going on, but it kind of is going with that vibe of things. You know, I like warm. So, you know, that's why we did that one. I'll save the edit file as well, because why the hell not? Now, the best thing to do is when you've edited a photo, is always to sort of leave your desk and then come back to it and go, you know, do I want more or less, or what do I want to do with that? So that's something that I'll often think about, unless I'm being lazy and I just wang it straight up on Thingamajig. Right, now then, hang on. Open recent. Is this going to open up or not? Loading one document. Come on then. There we go. So this is the one that I did earlier. Before this is the edited file, not the edited file, rather. Where is it? That's what it kind of turned into. Again, not a huge difference, but enough of a difference just to help. Again, I sort of brought out some colors a little bit. I brought out some sharpness and the lightness on the door there to help really make that logo stuff really pop. The only thing I could have done differently is when I took the photo, I needed to have cleaned up the RDA top cap, because that looks minging. Again, I could have put a gradient afterwards, but I just didn't want to. And the fact that this logo here, this Requiem logo, is silver. I could have put a gradient across that rather than just I've got a bit of white paper off to the side there to reflect the light directly off it. I haven't used any flashes or anything like that for this one. All I've done is, pardon me, all I've done is use a natural window light, and then I've got a white box just off to the left there to bounce back to help illuminate this this left-hand side right here. But there you go. So I mean, there's no point in me going over all of that again. That's something that that you can go with if you so want to. Now, one of the things that I can't remember who asked. Ben, are you still here? Seems like you got rid of actually, overcast is exactly what you want. The reason being because you don't want too many kind of bright spots and highlights and all that sort of nonsense. Right, so let me just go to my other screen and go to the camera. Ben, if you're still here, do you want to see something else? Those of you that are still here, I've got no idea. I've been streaming for an hour now. I'm kind of having fun with this. I don't know. I'm fairly sure people aren't going to like it, but let's just try something a little bit different. All right, so I've got this bottle of Project Mercury, and I can't remember. It's an ice lolly flavour. Hang on, what else have I got here? What else do I have here? Got some Own Boy Melon Punch. Tell you what I'll do is let's take the photo with a phone. Now this is an old iPhone 8 Plus, so it's certainly not as good as a normal phone. Oh, sorry, a modern phone. And also I am not going to be shooting RAW with it, so I will just shoot it as is. Now then, what I'm going to do, right, you see where I put that bottle there? Now, is this going to, can this zoom? No, it can't. Right, you're going to have to trust me with this. This is going to be the least professional bit. But what I've got here is I've got the Project Mercury going on right there. I'm going to use this because the window's there. I'm going to bounce back some of that light to highlight the label. Then we'll take a picture. fact, I'm going to take 2 pictures. Because I've had an idea. I need something white. Now, damn fingers keep getting in the way. Right, so this picture is not an exciting picture, all right? But let's see what we can do. And seeing as someone wanted to know what it was all about with adding stock footage, we're going to try that. Obviously, I might make a complete cock-up of it, but we'll see how we get on. Right, okay, item received. So let's get back to the screen here. Let me have a vape. Actually, I was going to do the melon punch, wasn't I? Melon punch or Project Mercury? Let me just take a picture of the melon punch, because I think we can do some more fun things with melon punch than we can with ice lollies. Right, so when I took the picture of this, I'm trying not to, because I'm not using RAW, I am trying not to blow out the highlights, whilst also giving us some level of something for the shadows. Right, let's get back over here. I've just airdropped it to myself, so we'll wang that up. And there we go. So we've got colour balance is off a little bit. It's not the sharpest. You can see that I've got the white card here. And what we're going to do is we're going to try and make a scene with this bottle. So I've not worried about doing the background. Okie dokie. Right. Let's do some sort of basic stuff, shall we? Let's see about doing that. Nope, wrong way around. Wrong way around. Selection, invert pixel selection. Fuck that off. Bosh. Some of that. Command D. So we've got rid of everything. Now this has got a very good choosing tool. Choosing, is that the right thing to say? Where we can, it will, as we're doing here, it will allow us to mask stuff out. But I've it's got to go here. We want all those little marching ants to be on the outside of the bottle, not on the inside. And so doing these automatic selection things, I mean, the Photoshop one is all right, but, you know, it's okay, but it's not ideal. So what I prefer to do is, where are we? Which is the, here we go. The freehand selection tool. We're going to choose polygonal rather than just all over the place. And then for this, we are going to, you can see the quality of this because it's because it was taken on the phone. And then what I'm going to do is just try and quickly go around the bottle, just making a real quick job of this. Wallop. Again, this isn't going to be, you know, a pro edit, and that's going to be just because we're not going to be spending hours and hours and hours on it. We spent an hour doing the other stuff, so we're going to try and get this done reasonably quickly. Thank you for the thumbs up. I'm glad this is helpful for someone. I mean, I love all this stuff. This is marvelous fun for me, but with social media being more and more popular, obviously, you know, you don't want to just throw out absolute nonsense. You can get rid of that hair there as well. That's nice. Right. Again, I'm not being overly precious about how accurate I'm being with this, because we'll just have to deal with it. But I would take a lot more time about it if I was doing it properly. Again, this is with an old iPhone 8 Plus rather than sort of a newer phone, so the quality of the camera not brilliant. Right. Some of that nonsense. Whoop, didn't mean to do that. That's the one I meant to do. Okay, now what we're going to do, now we've got a sort of a, you might be able to see the fact that we've got these marching ants going around the outside of everything. So we're now going to click on Refine. And that should do a pretty good job of making sure that we, it just kind of helps with the edges and all that sort of stuff to make sure that we're all good and gravy. So we're going to apply that. And then see if we press delete now, that'll get rid of that, which we don't want to do. So we want to invert the selection, invert pixel selection, and delete that. Get rid of the marching ants and wallop. There we go. That's the bottle we've got. Now we've got a little bit of a mess at the bottom there and all this sort of stuff, and we can get rid of that. But I think the easiest thing for today will be to just use the eraser and just get a shot of it. But again, you know, this one's not a pro if you hold the shift down while you're doing it, it helps you get a smoother line, like a straight line, you know. Right, so this is going to look a bit ropey, but you know, at the end of the day, we're looking at the how to do stuff rather than the let's make this amazing. Holding shift and then click again down here, wallop. Right. Okay, so that is what we've got going on right there. Now that, because we've got that as a background, I'm going to duplicate that just to make sure that anything we do isn't going to cock things up on that any more than it is right now. Okay, so we've got options now. We can go up to here, and we can move it around. If I turn that bottom layer off, we can move it around. We can hang on, some of that, and then turn the bottom layer off. We can make it smaller or bigger, or do whatever we like with all of that sort of stuff. So we're able to get shit done now, which is nice. So if you're doing stuff for a brand, for instance, you could then do a thingamajig there. Let's pop that under the layer. So we've now got the nice Swish logo going on there. we've got, what's this, kind of red and green. So on there, on the white layer, let us go with a gradient tool. Some of that. Put that gradient up there. Now let's choose our colours. So the green, I want to use, there's more green on the right side, so I want to have that. Let's get that there. On the left side, I want it that pink. I don't actually, I want it the other side, but we'll worry about that in a minute. Eyedropper, and get this green colour. Click on there, and we'll reverse the gradient. We can move that around so to be kind of however we like. And then, you know, you can do your stuff. So melon. Oops. That's all uppercase, isn't it? No, can't type. Melon punch. Do 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 do. And if you wanted to try and be extra swish, although we've got a crap thing at the bottom there, we could, if we make this just a wee bit smaller, we'll move that to the center. And then what we'll do is we'll duplicate this, and then we're going to turn it 180 degrees. And we're going to hit Shift and pull it directly down like that. It doesn't quite work because of the angle, I don't think. Hang on. Can we flip it and then worry about it? Where's my flippy thing? Where's my flippy thing? Invert layer. Anyone see flip? Range. That's it. Dean, what are you doing? Have you lost your damn mind? I have not. Because I'm going to put that under there. I'm going to move it down just a touch more. I'm then going to do that kind of nonsense. And if this shot was a kind of a straight on shot, you can then kind of make it look as though it's got a reflection going on. Feel me? So, you know, you can get that kind of real whizzy look. And if you wanted to, you could put a mask on that as well. In there, go with turn that the other way up. So you see that I've got a gradient going on there, so I'm kind of, it's fading out as it goes. So as long as you shoot it dead on, then that technique works rather well. But that one, you know, doesn't do. Obviously, we've got various issues with that and the sizing and the lettering and all that sort of nonsense. But we can you can fanny about with that till your heart's content to get stuff done. Feel me? Right, so that's that. But what somebody asked earlier on was, can we put some other stuff in there? Yes, we can. So let's, pardon me, shift, get rid of all of that. And one of the great things about Affinity is that we can get some stock photos super easily. So if we go to stock up here, we've got unsplash, pixels or pixabay. Let's try for unsplash. And let's go for melon. Give it a little search on melons. Now, the thing that we've got, the great thing to do, if you're going to be doing this kind of stuff, is you really want to kind of know what shot you're going to be working with prior to taking your photograph, because then you'll know what angle you want the photo taken at, you know. Because, I mean, for instance, if we're not going to, but if we were to use something like this, which isn't coming on. Oh no, hang on. Why is it doing that? Let's go to pixels. Is that one going to go on? There we go. If we were to use this, oh no, keep it the same thing. And then go back to layers. You can see that this would just look horseshit. It just wouldn't fit, you know. In fact, let me just don't want that one at all. So that in itself would look garbage, really. I mean, you could make it work. I know the framing and stuff is all out, but you know, you've got the wrong size strawberries and all that sort of nonsense going on for that. So if you know what you've got before you go there, then you're in a better position. So let's try and find something a little bit more suitable. Don't know if we will or not, but we'll have a go. Try and help out young Ben. Exactly, yeah. So the angle's all wrong, and that's, you know, exactly the problem. If you were to do, you know, something like this, then it's obviously not going to work because it's a completely different angle. But if you were to go, right, well, that's the picture that I want to use beforehand, you kind of got a rough idea. The sizing is wrong, but you've got a rough idea of the angle. So then you get your phone. Let's have a little look and see if we can replicate it. Don't know if this is going to work, but we'll give it a go. I'm fairly sure this one won't work, but we'll give it a shot. Right, so I'm going to move that around to like there. Let's take that down. Layers. Turn off all the layers. Hey Brent, how you doing, buddy? And then I'll do a super quick lasso selection. Ba, ba, ba. Ba, But the one thing that Photoshop does that this one doesn't, which is a bit annoying, is you can sort of keep hold of your finger to create Bezier, keep hold of the mouse and create Bezier curves. This doesn't do that, I don't think. Although I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you. Right. Going on there. Wallop. Refine. That's sorted that out. And we will selection, invert pixel selection. Oh no, oh no. Oh god, oh no, 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 no. Right. Deselect. Reselect. Is that going to do the trick? Nope, it's not. Get myself all of a dither. Selection from layer. This is what we want. No, it's not. No, it's not. See, what I would ordinarily do is I'd pull this in from another thing. In fact, just to keep things quick. Too late, Dean. Control copy. Oh no. Control copy. Document. New from clipboard. Right, now we've got that. Be quicker, Dean. Be quicker. I think I'm doing all this and I said that it's probably not going to work, so that's not ideal. Super quick. I'm making more mistakes. Right, some of that nonsense. Okay. Nope, come back. Refine. That hopefully has helped. You can see at this bottom piece here that the refining process is kind of fucked up a little bit. So if we go to refine, we can then go background and cover up some of that. So then we'll have less to worry about when we do the final edit. Right, but we'll apply that. Again, not the best, but it will have to do. Oh no. Why is it? Why is it? What's going on? Pixel selection. Copy. Why is it not taking it from that particular one? Oh, you bastard. Oh, you absolute sausage. Oh, I'm very angry. I've got to rasterize it first. I might have to rasterize it first. Rasterize and trim. Okay. There we go. That's the kitty. I needed to rasterize it. Right, so we'll copy that. Go back over here. I'll fuck that one off. Delete, deselect, paste. And we've got that background. Where's the focus point? I would then, at that point, Ben, I'd then think about color grading it to make it kind of fit in with what we've got going on there. I'd also probably do a paintbrush here, hardness of very little, flow very little. I will then do a pixel level under there. Increase the brush size. Look at where the shadow is on that, and then kind of add a bit of shadow going on there as well. Just to kind of, you know, guessed out. I mean, that's a really poor effort, to be fair. I'm not gonna lie, but you know, this is what you get for not thinking about your photo before you do it. So you know, it then means that you've just got to fanny around to try and make it look all right. You'll get there with some shots you won't. But, you know, really, you do want to have a clear understanding about where you want it to go. And if you're going to be using a sort of stock photo background ahead of time, you really want to kind of, you know, have something that all pulls together. So you want to know about that before you take the shot. I'll just have a very, very quick look, and then we will give it a rest just to see if we've got anything that's remotely doable. Right, that one, for instance, take all of that stuff out. And pop. Let's make that a little bit bigger again. Nope, that's the wrong one, Dean. That's the one we want. Okay, so then we'll put that down there like that. Where would you want it? Again, the angle is slightly off, but this is where you need to, like, you wouldn't be able to put it up there even if it was right, because the angle would be off. There is kind of where it would need to go, but you know, it's one of those things. And then again, you would want to fanny around with it. Levels. No, I don't want to do that. Levels. I don't want to make the black blacker. We want to wash that out just a touch to bring it in. Take that down. I would even possibly do something like unsharpen it, but let's put another pixel layer there underneath the jobby. Paintbrush. That's where the shadow is going. That's completely the wrong colour. Let's actually get this grey. Yeah, I'd have to do a whole bunch to get that to look half decent. But anyway, that's kind of it. So there's a whole mess of things that you can do with this software, which is great. You can make stuff look cool. You can make stuff, cut stuff out, and do all kinds of nonsense. You've got the stock photos, which is marvelous. I mean, if you had, I don't know, let's have a look at smoke. So we'll have some of that going on there. Stop that. Layers. Wallop some of that nonsense. Nope. Escape. That's a cigarette there, so that's not ideal. I just saw the smoke, but never mind, let's get the cigarette out of the way. Wallop. I'll do an HSL thing on there. We'll add a bit of... Should we go green? Look at that, look! What? Bosh. You can download, yeah, there is Affinity smoke brushes and stuff as well, but you can use a bunch of stuff for Lightroom and Photoshop in Affinity as well, if you so wish. Right, so, you know, there is a whole mess of things. It's great if you've got a nice posh camera, but, you know, you could get away with this on social media and it's not something that would cause too much of a problem. So, you know, it's something that you can mess around with to your heart's content, really. Just thinking if you've got that as no, maybe it's not got an alpha level. Yeah, that looks really, I really like that. I really like that. But there we go. So, you know, that's been an hour and a half of fanning around on stuff. It's not that I'm affiliate with Affinity. But hopefully you can see from that brief kind of overall look that it's a pretty powerful bit of software if you want it to be, and it just works well. Thank you very much. See what you mean, Dean? It's all about the angle and the lighting to make it seem natural and fitting. Absolutely. No line. You don't know smoke-free brushes. Yes. Good. Right. Well, unless anybody else has got anything else they want to say, 3 thumbs down. Look, would you believe it? Unless anyone's got anything else they want to say, I think that will probably be me done for the day. So thank you. Thank you for hanging out with me. I hope somebody found that interesting or useful. It's one of those things that, you know, it takes a lot of time to fanny around with and to get good at. And if I sit here for hours and hours and hours, then I'll make something that I'm quite proud of. Otherwise, I'll make something that's horseshit, you know. But I don't know. Get this video to 100 likes, and I'll do it again. If it doesn't get to 100 likes, then I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. On that note, I am going to go. Have a great day. Enjoy yourselves, and I'll speak to you. I'll speak to you soon, I guess. I've got some reviews coming, so whether they're lives or not, I don't know, but we'll see. Right. Thank you very much. How do I stop? Over here. Peace out. Just waiting for the video to catch up on the playback. I don't know if it cuts the end off. I think it does. Okay, I'm now going. Bye.